Good afternoon, good evening. I've just managed to press the right button. This is a big learning curve for me. I don't know if you could hear any of what I said before I've just come onto your screen. Good evening. Hello. We'll start all of this again. Thank you so much for joining me and thank you for your patience. Apologies for all my technical issues. My old PC has just basically given up the ghost and decided to not work and not find the camera. And it's taken me long enough to move my other computer across so that you couldn't see all of the mess around me in my craft space. So I am sitting in my little corner space in my craft room, but I would really love to know exactly where you are in the world watching with me. Give you a little bit, Bernadine, welcome. And my goodness, I am not the biggest fan of technology and certainly not when I'm on the hop. Believe it or not, this was all set up and ready to go live dead at 7 and everything just went a bit awry, shall we say. So a huge welcome. Apologies again for the technical issues, but we are here, we are live, and I'm going to give this my best shot. Now, before I allowed myself into the studio, I was telling a little bit about myself, where I am Fiona. I am a UK-based crochet designer. We've got a couple of people watching, which is so lovely to have them. We've got Erin from Juniper and Oaks, who I've previously interviewed on this channel, and I've also interviewed Bernadine, sorry, and Joanna. But yes, it's lovely to see you here watching as well, ladies. So thank you so much for joining me. Try and put my hands down. As a crocheter, they're always busy, so I have to try not to talk with them. But we are here, so I'm going to take a deep breath and just relax. So thank you for letting me know where you are. That's the main thing. I'm being really nosy and trying to find out as much as I can about you. And obviously I want to tell you a little bit more about what we can expect this evening as we go through what's turning into hopefully my worst ever live, but also my first. So it's all kind of relative, isn't it? So I've done a lot of research about the yarn that we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to run through some of the history of the companies that we're talking about this evening and their yarn. I'm also going to tell you a little bit more about a couple of patterns that are going on, and one's available today as a free download that you can grab today only, but it is available forever free, both on my YouTube channel to follow along with the tutorial, and of course you can view the free pattern on my blog as well. So the two yarns that we are going to be talking about today are Sirdar, oh wow, that does not show up there, Sirdar Happy Cotton and Paintbox yarn Simply Chunky. Now I clearly have my light a little bit too bright and you can't see the colours of these, but I want to share with you a couple of the new colours that have come out on the LoveCrafts Paintbox Simply Dk cotton, and also tell you a bit more about these two companies as well, because they're quite fascinating histories actually. You might not be interested in the history of yarn companies, but I certainly am, and I'm going to share what I found with you today. So let's start by first of all talking a little bit more about Sirdar. So the Sirdar Happy Cotton is actually quite a favoured yarn amongst those amigurumi makers and that kind of thing. It's quite a thick DK weight yarn in comparison to the LoveCrafts Simply Cotton. Now, I'd love to know if you've ever tried using any of the Sirdar yarns, be it the Happy Cotton. I mean, you can see behind me, wow, that literally looks like a whole advert for Sirdar. I promise you it's not. I just really like the jewel spun that they have as well. That is an acrylic, 100% acrylic yarn that comes in about 6 or 7, maybe 8 different shades now. That is a beautiful variegated yarn. The Happy Cotton comes from Sirdar, and Sirdar is a company originally formed in West Yorkshire in 1880. So they are a very old company. They were originally started in the UK. They are available and do ship worldwide, and are available with quite a lot of different craft specialist companies. They also do a lot of work with local yarn shops. They do support those kind of, I don't know the acronym, local yarn shops. They do a lot of work with their local yarn shops in the way that they would offer support to help them build their businesses and that kind of thing. I know I have a friend who has a yarn shop and she gets on really well with Sirdar for the distribution and getting hold of their new patterns and their new yarns as well. So the Happy Cotton itself Oh, no, I have to tell you, one of the funniest things I saw when I was researching Sirdar was, you may not know this, and you may not even know who I'm going to be talking about, but if you're a Bond fan, you'll be very happy to know that Roger Moore modelled for them. Sirdar have a long history, and they're well known for actually creating their very own unique knitting patterns. And obviously in the 60s and 70s, they would get models from various agencies to model the wonderful creations that their designers come up with. And some of them are when we look at those pictures now of these models and these wonderful designs, they are most certainly a little bit laughable. But of the time, they were de rigueur, weren't they? Let's be honest, they were of the time. And some of the garish colours combinations that they used really set those pictures on fire, shall we say. So yeah, Roger Moore, Mr. Bond himself, did model for Sirdar, and I thought that was quite an interesting fact. So yes, good couple of hundreds of years worth of history behind this company, and they were a West Yorkshire company. There are a lot of Yorkshire yarn companies as well, including, I'm going to say the name wrong, West Yorkshire Spinners are still creating definitely sock weight yarn that is used, which is, I know Joanna's like, no, yeah, it was Roger Moore. So West Yorkshire Spinners still creates the most beautiful sock yarns that they can tell you exactly what breed of sheep that their yarn comes from. Sirdar definitely imports a lot of their yarn now from Turkey, which is completely understandable. Turkey is the biggest yarn producer when it comes to cottons and acrylics, most definitely. So a lot of that is imported. I'm going to have a look on this label. And LoveCrafts is slightly different. It's in Bulgaria. So LoveCrafts, believe it or not, is also a UK company. It was born from 3 friends that went to a college of some kind together. Inconsistent research there. That all went to college together, and they started this company. Now, you may, if you've been in the crafting world for a little while, may remember Love Knitting and Love Crochet. So LoveCrafts ultimately was the kind of parent company of those 2 companies, and they amalgamated them a few years back, 2017 I believe it was, maybe 2018, into one big company, and combined all the social medias, all their websites and everything into this one website, which is LoveCrafts. If you have ever bought from LoveCrafts, you will know that their customer service, oh my goodness, I'm intrigued. Someone's just said they've never used LoveCrafts either. Now, for me personally, I am UK based, so obviously they have distribution in the UK. There is a big distribution center in Germany, and they now have a distribution center in America as well. So you can order directly from LoveCrafts in the US, and it'll be shipped within the US, I believe. So it works out a bit quicker for shipping. But if not, they offer very favorable delivery prices for the US. So the LoveCrafts itself is original, started in 2010 with those 2 companies, so Love Knitting and Love Crochet, and then they amalgamated in 2017 to create LoveCrafts. They are very, very different companies. Obviously, Sirdar is in local yarn shops, and LoveCrafts have their own brand, which is this Paintbox yarns. It's bright, if light's bright, sorry. Their Paintbox yarn, which is their own brand. You can only get that on their own website. So they are a web-based yarn provider, let's say. Yeah, so we've got Bernadine with a claim to fame saying her first order was when it was Love Crochet. That is a claim to fame, most definitely. Now, Paintbox Cotton itself, the DK, Simply DK, comes in a huge array of colours. I was really impressed with this because sometimes you can get all of them, sometimes you can't. And they currently have, I wrote it down, 64 different shades of cotton. Now, I do have 2 here that are new colours that I've treated myself to, and you can't really see them. I wonder if I can put a shadow. Oh, there you go. Put a shadow over them. You can see they are the most beautiful kind of lilac-y colour, and a rose pink, I think it's called. Rosy pink. Obviously had to buy that one. And dusty rose. I'm not obsessed with roses in the slightest, but they are beautiful colours. I'll try and put some photos up on my social media for you. after this, so you can see them in their natural light as well. Whereas the Happy Cotton has a lot more of a limited range, but still not limited at the same time. There are only 49 colours. Goodness. So still lots and lots of choice. And I think as amigurumi becomes more and more popular, the colour ranges for cotton, because that tends to be a bit of a preference of people making amigurumi, those little toys and those dolls, the range of colours available in cottons is getting more and more vast. Now, I can't speak for some of the American cottons that are available. I've not used a lot of them, and they're really quite hard to get hold of in the UK without spending an absolute fortune on shipping. LoveCrafts does stock some other cottons as well, including, just for reference, oh my goodness, you really can't see anything. I'm so sorry, it's so bright. The Rikirumi, I'm just going to tell you what it says, which is designed specifically for amigurumi, and they have their own designs to use with their yarn. And actually, their cotton is probably one of the thinnest DK weight cottons I've found. However, there is one massive difference that you don't need to see the colour for to see the difference in. This is a 20-gram ball, and this is a 50-gram ball. So you're almost getting 3 times as much. I know it's time, you know, basically you're getting double the amount in between these two balls, but that is reflected in the price. So you can find Happy Cotton for as little as £1 a ball, all the way up to £2 a ball. I've seen it online, whereas Sirdar has lots of amazing offers. And if you're making a big project in their cotton, they have they have packs. They sell their yarn in packs. Oh my goodness, don't look over there. So you can buy multiples of the same colour, or you can buy packs of 5 and 10. And they even have their own colourways that have kind of been paired up very nicely to create other patterns as well. So we've got also Trista, who's joined us. She's from Crochet by Tristis. She's a fabulous website. You should go and check that out. She tested one of my crochet patterns, which was the Bittersweet Margaret bralette, and she used this Paintbox cotton, and I'll come back to that, Erin. And this definitely has a bit of a stretch to it when it's worked up. So much like, unlike acrylic, cotton yarn, if you've never used, this is cotton yarn here, and this is one of my coaster pattern that's been released today, and you can see that there is a lot of give in that. Considering that acrylic, when you're working it up, feels like it moves an awful lot more compared to when you're working with cotton, this creates a stretch when it's worn, and definitely when it's being used as well. So speaking of this pattern, this is my brand new chevron crochet coaster pattern that you can grab as a free download today over on my blog as part of the News Resolution blog hop as well. So kind of in conclusion, overall, I am a huge Paintbox fan, but I would use Sirdar Happy Cotton in a push, no problem at all. So for instance, when we were talking about the hook sizes, they both recommend a 4mm hook, but I found it easier to use a smaller hook with the with the LoveCrafts Paintbox Simply Cotton, because it was less splitty, which seems strange because this looks like it's really quite tightly woven in the Happy Cotton, but I found that I could put my hook through it a bit easier on the smaller hooks as well. So as Erin has pointed out already, that there are some yarns here that are waiting to be used. Well, there's lots of yarns. They're all destined for projects. I only buy yarn with a project in mind. However, I run out of time to make all the projects. I don't know about you. So this yarn here is designed for a crochet along that will be happening in April. As you can see, I'm really far ahead with that project. It'll be ready soon, I promise. However, if I lean and grab this bad boy, this is a brand new pattern that is launching on Friday. So this is a giant Easter egg, and this has been worked up using burnout blanket yarn Sparkle. Now, I didn't know this existed until it turned up in my local hobbycraft store, and I couldn't resist it. I saw the colours and just thought Easter egg. So you're going to be able to crochet your very own giant Easter egg on Friday. You'll be happy to know, or maybe you won't, but I think it's stunning, and it's super, super squishy. It's my first time working with the blanket yarn, and if you've never used it, it's an interesting project. Well, an interesting yarn to work with. I found it's very different when you compare it to the normal working of normal sized yarn, shall we say. Let me know in the comments if you've ever used burnout blanket yarn, or in my case, this is baby blanket sparkle. I would really love to know if you've ever used it. It is so squishy. And I've used like velvet yarns and that kind of thing, but this blanket yarn is, it's on another level. It really is. But it has worked up really well for the egg, and I'm really excited to share that pattern with you. So after all my faffing around of trying to get into the YouTube here with you today, I've quite enjoyed myself. I have so much more I could tell you about what's coming up. Shall we have a think about what else we have happening in February? I did have a list actually. So on Friday we have, oh, interesting. Elizabeth, I would love to know what you work in it, what you work up in that yarn, because other than blankets, I see a lot of people making like supersized amigurumi in it. I see people working, well, blankets, obviously, cushion covers. I don't think we're limited on the projects that we can use it on. I think it's just that, yes, I will concur with Joanna there that sometimes it's a bit squeaky. And actually, I ran it down the side of my desk when I was filming and I couldn't work out what that sound was. And actually, it was the yarn. And I think it's 100% polyester. So I think it is basically you're crocheting a fabric. So it is going to work very, very differently. And it's so big that it feels like you're using up so much yarn. And I found it quite hard to pull from the middle. And as you can tell from all of my yarns, I always pull from the middle. And that didn't want to pull very well from the middle at all. So I will be very interested to hear what you make with it, Elizabeth, most definitely. So last Friday we had the sunglasses case launch. That's over there on my other desk. Useful. But that used a different kind of cotton, which I should have showed you. No, it's not there anymore. It's ready to work. Oh, it's moved it over there, ready to work on. So I'm already ahead of myself. So I'm thinking spring, summer patterns already. And for me, the number one thing to work with is got to be Stylecraft Naturals bamboo cotton. It is a cotton blend, which I always love. I prefer a cotton blend for garments and that kind of thing. And it really makes a huge difference because it keeps it silky soft. If you haven't used the cotton bamboo, well, I think we should do a whole video just on that, because I have numerous amounts of patterns that I've used that in already. And it was recommended to me by Bernadine, who was here earlier. And I was wary to try it because it's a DK weight yarn again, but it's on that thinner side. And being the lazy crocheter that I am, I do have a bit of a preference for slightly larger yarns because projects work up much quicker when you're working with bigger yarn. And, you know, when I'm looking at a DK, I'd leave it if I could. But actually, it worked up so quickly and was such a pleasure to use. So I will come back to that yarn with you and tell you more about that yarn specifically and some other cotton blends that are out there. I have been delving into designing with some different fabrics and different textures this year, and I want to tell you more about them because some of them are on the eco side, some of them claim to be on the eco side, and they're not necessarily hitting that mark as they should be when it comes to their eco preferences, and they're quite hard to use. So far I've already used a hemp yarn. I've used some more eco-friendly cotton. I have some recycled jumbo cotton in the box behind me. Loads of things that I want to play with this year, but there most definitely is a whole world out there of yarn still to explore. Maria, welcome. Wowzers, I would not consider someone that's made 2 cardigans a beginner to crochet, because garments are generally considered one of the most challenging things to make. I know that my friend who's still watching has just complained that no, Stylecraft Natural is not that thin. Well, welcome, Maria. It's lovely to have you with us. Most definitely, garments tend to be considered more advanced. So I think you're doing fabulously, and keep on going, especially if you're garment making, because if you can do that, you can pretty much do anything. There is one thing that my friend Bernadine has always said, and I've just put it in one of my blog posts actually, is that as a beginner, everything's hard. And that's it. There is nothing else to say about that matter. When we are learning to crochet, most definitely the idea of, I mean, obviously, it's not long before your house will look like this, I can assure you, but everything's new and everything's difficult. So we might as well just throw ourselves into it and keep going and keep trying. And I think by jumping in and making a garment, you're halfway there. You really are. So well done, Maria. I'd love to have a look at that. Do come on over to the Facebook community group. I'll link that to this a bit later for you. You can come and join us there as well, Maria, if you're not there already. Oh, I feel like I should give you the opportunity to ask some questions. Do you have any questions about cotton or about specifically the Paintbox yarns, how to get hold of them, or the Sirdar yarns? Is there anything that you would love to know that I haven't already told you about, even though I've already shared that most useful information, which we're now going to be stuck in all of our brains, is that Bond modelled the Sirdar. I will find that picture. I will share it everywhere, believe you me, because it blew my mind when I saw it. And it is a typical 1960s knitting pattern photo. I'm going to definitely do some hunting and look for some more interesting photos on from the days gone by, shall we say. Well, I am so impressed that you are here and watching. That sounds so silly, but I want to thank you explicitly for joining me this evening. I can't thank you enough for being here to support me in my first YouTube live. If there's anything else you would like me to go through for you on one of these lives, be it yarn reviews, other product reviews, crochet hook reviews, I'm more than happy to do so. My desk, I've cleared my desk for the day, so I have nothing in front of me except 2 balls of yarn. But yes, definitely. Oh, Erin, you're very welcome, and thank you for subscribing. It makes a huge difference because obviously it means that you get to know whenever I make another tutorial, or next time when I go live again, you'll be able to be notified straight away. I am back, as I said, with a brand new crochet tutorial / free pattern on Friday. Another sneak peek. I mean, it's not small. Oh, the giant egg is coming. You will see this bad boy everywhere over the next few days. I'm going to be shoving him everywhere. Oh no, that's not the right thing to say. Be sharing him everywhere. That's what I meant. But yes, so get your 3 different colors of burlap blanket yarn, and you'll be able to make 3 of those giant eggs. You only need 1 ball to make the whole egg, but I will say you're going to need 300 grams of polyfill, as you call it in America, or toy stuffing in the UK. So a huge thank you for joining me this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I will hopefully, if I can get my camera to work, see you again very soon for another live or another yarn review or whatever else we decide to chat about. So thank you so much for joining me. I've really enjoyed myself considering how well it started. See you again. Bye.